I got the Chinook engine project finished, and today I'm back working on the Allstate 1955 Allstate. I'm working on the frame now. It's the last part I gotta work on before I paint everything. I want to see if I can get this frame in primer. These little rivets here held the nameplate on. I was able to get the nameplate off in one piece, but looks like I'll have to replace these rivets. I'll probably drill them out and use a little bit bigger size on them. The other thing I was working on was wiring, which is in surprisingly good condition. I don't really see a problem with using these wires over again. They seem like they're a little heavy, but it's a 6-volt system, and you got to have big wire for 6 volts because you got a lot of amps going through there. Worst problem I had was this loom they put it through. It's a plastic loom that went through this hole here and kind of goes back all over the rest of the bike. It was so stiff on there. Some of the pieces of wiring, some of the looms on the other side of it anyways, I had to kind of cut this plastic loom off there because it had gotten so hard that I couldn't really withdraw the wires out of the inside of the frame through these holes. It was really stiff in there, and you just couldn't pull it out. But the wire itself is, the insulation looks good. It doesn't crack if you bend it tight. It seems almost new. I cleaned them up with acetone, and that got most of the blue paint and stuff off of it. So like I said before, this thing's painted with this awful color, kind of a metallic blue paint. I think it's awful, but I'm going to try to put it back to the original color. And there's some, it's just been washed, the frame's been washed with soap and water, but down in here there's some grease and things I'm going to have to clean up, but basically it's pretty clean. So I don't think I have to do much to that. You can see traces here of green. The last time they painted it, this is the way I look at it, the third time this has been done. I've had this thing sitting around and not done anything with it for about 37 years, I figure. And you know, that I've owned it and not done anything with it yet. And I'd say this probably the 2 times that this bike has been torn down this far, and they really did a pretty good job of painting it. I mean, they really took it apart. You can still see traces of green, which is what they did at first in this metallic green, and that covered up all the maroon paint. But first they did green, and then they put blue over top of that. But they really took it apart. I think particularly when they did the green, they really did a good job on it. This thing has really been torn down. So I'm surprised that I'm, you know, as complete as this thing is, and I'm not having more trouble with it. The inside here has still got the maroon paint on it. But I'm thinking now that, at first I was thinking I'd have this frame stripped, but since the paint is so good on it and I haven't seen any problems with it adhering right or anything like that, I think I'm just going to sand it down, and I'll wet sand it with a block, and then I'll prime it and paint it, and all this blue paint will still be underneath all that. But that's the problem, the game plan right now, and I'll probably make more videos if I have any other problems with it. But I think the wiring and the speedometer cable, I've got most everything out of it was inside this frame. I've got it out of there, the coils and everything. I managed to get all that apart. So working on this last piece, and once I get this all these parts painted, then it's going to be turnaround time, and I start putting stuff back together, which will undoubtedly take me a long time. Hopefully I can get this wiring sorted out. That's probably the biggest thing I'm worried about is I think I can come up with a wiring diagram for it, but I got a feeling it'll take me a long time to wire it up. I'll have to brush up on my generator technology because that's a little bit different. But that's the way the Allstate stands right now.